Oh, hello there. Where even is there? What even is that? It's something that so many of us try to get ourselves to, yet what does that even mean? Where is there? What is going on? How do we get there? What's there for us when we get there? These are so many questions that I've been asking myself lately, and maybe you found yourself there as well. So maybe you found yourself asking that question, where is there? Or maybe you're asking yourself, how do I get there? And I feel like we spend so much of our life trying to arrive at destinations rather than embracing what's going on right now and embracing the situations that we find ourselves. And we can kind of lose that present moment. We can lose so much of the now, constantly trying to find there. So, hello, welcome. If you are new to Fostering Kingdoms, I'm your host, Jess. For some reason, the AI on this keeps wanting to call me Jeff. Not a Jeff, I'm a Jess. So, hello, welcome. I am a foster carer, have been a foster carer for the past 7 years. I am also a wife, mother, veteran, absolute coffee lover, and I hope you guys have got your cup of tea or coffee. Let me know in the comments what you're drinking today and also where you are listening from. And how do I get there? Bear with me. So, in this conversation today, we're just going to dive deep into where is there, how do we get there, and what we're missing along the way. And when it comes to fostering, it can be so easy to slip into this way of thinking of like, well, when we get there, when the placement settles, when the children sleep, when school starts, when panel is over, when the allegations finish, when I lose weight, when I earn more money, when this happens, when that happens, there always seems to be something else along the journey. So, what even is there? How do we get there? Are we looking at a huge end goal and that's the there for us? Or are we looking at this in like micro steps along the way? Well, when I just do this small step, then that's going to lead me to the next step. And instead of looking at when I get there, maybe we just need to reframe our views on how we get there rather than what's just the next step. What is it that I'm being led into next? What is the next thing that God is speaking to me? What's the next step of obedience? Where is it that I need to go from where I'm at today to where I need to be? What God is calling me into? And I'm going to share a few stories with you guys on this. And I've always, in the past, kind of been the same with this thought of, well, when I get there, then I'll have all of this happiness and I'll have all of this confidence. But God's like, no, I'm calling you to steward what you have right now, and you will take the next step. And it's going to lead you to where you think you're going, but it's going to be so much better. It's going to be so much bigger. It is literally going to blow your mind in ways that you never thought possible. So, getting there isn't the destination, that isn't the goal. Trusting God's obedience over your life. And it can be in terms of new placements, trying to figure out the chaos of what's coming in, what's happening, where people need to be, but trusting in God and learning to pray into that. Like, okay, what's the next thing that you're calling me to do? Where do I need to show up in this? It could be building new rhythms within the home, but those rhythms, they're going to change. So again, being flexible with allowing those things to change and not just thinking, okay, well, when we get there, life's going to be plain sailing, because let's face it, it's never going to be. There's always going to be something else that comes up. So instead of change, like when we get there, there isn't the destination. It's trusting in God. Okay, well, when I move with obedience to what He's calling me to, He's going to show me the next step and the next step. And these things are going to start building. But they're not just building the experience, they're building you as a person. They're building your home, they're building the ecosystem, they're building everything around you when you listen to God's obedience. So I want to share just a few examples of this that we've experienced in our homes too. So a few years back, It's just been over 2 years since we moved into our home, but I felt such a deep calling when we lived in our military accommodation, and God was like, you're going to move. There was just this big, deep sense of knowing that I needed to move from where we were. We were going to move into our own home. I didn't know the next steps. I didn't know where there was going to be. We just had to trust and listen into that obedience, pack in the boxes months before we'd even sourced a home, even before we even had the deposit. But God was like, start packing. So I trusted in that. And within 6 months of me packing that first box, we had bought and moved into our home. I didn't know where there was going to be at that time, but I just had to trust in that obedience. And again, it's been the same when we've had children coming into the home. I've had to just trust in that next step, not trying to figure out, well, where's there going to be for them. It can be so easy to kind of get stuck into our own minds of thinking, well, there's a new child that's come into our home and they're on a long-term placement. So that means that they're going to be with us until they're 18, for example. It can be so easy for us to get caught up in, well, when we get there, but things are going to happen along the journey, things that you can never predict for. So God is saying, no, steward for what you have today. Steward for what's in your hands. Now listen to my word over your life. And just sharing as well, I was in this same place last year. We'd moved into our home and I was like, okay, I don't know what's going to come next. And I just had to just keep trusting in God's obedience. And it's been just over a year now since my baptism. And probably about 3 weeks after my baptism, I heard God's whisper again. And I didn't know what there was. I didn't know where I was heading in my life. But God put fostering kingdoms into my heart. And it's just been one step of obedience after the next. I'm starting to get a clearer picture on what there may look like. I don't know when I'm going to arrive. I don't know what it's going to look like. But I'm trusting in that step of obedience. And it's the same, like God is calling you in. And this morning, we've just had 2 new chairs arrive for our office. Tomorrow, we're having a new desk come. Only 3-4 days ago, I had the idea of going back up into my office, which had just been used as kind of a bit of a dumping ground. But God was calling me. He was like, you need to clear it. You need to step into that next level version of yourself, out of your comfort zone, stepping up, listening to that obedience. I don't know where that's going to take us. I don't have the full blueprint of that, but God is showing one step after another. You're going to get to places. So at some point, the office will be done. We will be back in the office. But there's going to be things after that. God's going to call us into more obedience. For all I know, he could be saying, okay, you've been in this office 6 months. You've got more staff coming on. You need a bigger place. Or it could be that we grow there for the next 3 years and then we move on. I just have to trust in God's calling, in God's whispers over what it is that he's creating. And it's the same with you in your home. What is it that he's calling you to do? It may be to empty a spare room. It may be to sort out your kitchen. It may be to just empty those cupboards. Maybe you are a single person right now and would just absolutely love to have a partner come in and walk this journey with you. Maybe God is calling you to say, you can't get there without doing this today. You need to clear out the drawer. You need to take that first step of obedience. God knows what's in your heart. He knows what it is that you're desiring, what you're wanting to create, and what you're wanting to get there. But you have to listen to his steps in order to be able to achieve the goals. His steps are going to be small. His whispers will be subtle. But when you can start listening to his words, spending time journaling, spending time in deep anchored prayer, and it may just be that you want a calmer home. It could be that you want a new car. It could be such a variety of things that when you get there, things will be different. When you get there, you'll be happier. You'll be more confident. You'll be able to achieve all the things that you once desired. But there isn't the end goal. These are just desires of our hearts, and more will come from that. When you start moving today in God's obedience, more will start opening up for you. God is calling you to so much more. And let's just pull that back into scripture. Zechariah 4:10, don't despise small beginnings. If I hadn't have sat that day and just prayed to God and spent some time journaling, listening to these whispers that he's put into my heart, you wouldn't be sat here today thinking, who is this lady on my screen? God calls us into those small things. He says, listen. And I can count right back to when God completely changed my life. There's been multiple times where there's been small things that God has called me for and called me to do. And I've thought, really? And I share a lot of this in my book, The Everyday Woman. God calls us in those small things to see how well we can listen, to see how well we are obedient to what it is that he's calling us to. Because if he just handed you everything today, could you handle it? If tomorrow you woke up and all of those dreams and desires that are put into your heart, when you've got there, if you were just to wake up tomorrow, could you emotionally, physically, spiritually handle all of the things that God is wanting to bless you with? Or are you going to trip up? Are you going to see that blessing more as a burden? God calls us to do these small things. God is going to call you in ways that you think, really, that's what you want me to do? And I share this because a few years ago, after I had my surgery, I felt so low. I felt so depressed. I was really poorly. And God said to me, clear out your closet. And I thought, I really don't want to do that right now. I was so low. I had zero energy. I'd not long recovered from having surgery. And I thought, I just really don't want to do this. But it was all I could hear. Clear out your closet. Clear out your closet. Get rid of the things that don't fit. Donate them. Make space for the new. And I couldn't let go of this feeling. So after about half an hour of just this constant weight on my shoulders of go, clean out the wardrobes, get rid of everything, I decided to get up and I did it. And literally within a matter of weeks, I began to lose so much weight. I held on to the vision of the things that made me feel good. I let go of the things that were holding me back, and I stepped into this new version of who God knew I was to become. And since then, I've lost almost £100. Listening and trusting in the small things, because trust me, when God asked me to clear out my wardrobe, I never thought that 3 years later I'd be £100 lighter by emptying my wardrobe. God calls you to do the small things. He calls you to act in those steps of obedience. So what is it that he's calling you into? What is the big goal that you have that's been put onto your heart? But what are the steps that God's calling you to do today? Is it like me? Is it buying a new chair for the office? Is it clearing out the room so you can even build the office? Is it to spend time to write a book? Is it to start something that has been put onto your heart for such a long time? Don't compare where you are today to where other people are. Where you're going, God has already ordained those steps. He is just waiting for you to start taking those steps today. And whether that's building your sustainability as a foster carer, I highly recommend that you check out the Sustainable Fostering Framework. Listen to what God is calling you into. Understand what the foundations that you're running on. What are you building? What do you need to protect? Who do you need to become? Who is God calling you into? Whatever season you find yourself in today, remember it's just a season. You will get to the desires of your heart if God has placed them onto you, but you have to trust in his obedience today. So I invite you, share that in the comment section below, everything that God is putting into your heart today. But can I just invite you today to subscribe to our channel and make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And also don't forget to send this video to a fellow foster carer so that we can all have a coffee together, we can have a chat, and we can all come together, building on the things that God is calling us into. And if you are not ready to leave yet, don't worry, we can hang out some more. I'll catch you on the next video.